Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Andrew. This is my first time here as an attendee as well as a storyteller. Jump it with both feet, and I am secretly using the technique of imagining you all in your underwear, so a pretty good-looking crowd. So my story goes back to when I was in my mid-20s, about 4 or 5 years ago, and my buddy was a roommate of mine, and we lived in Westchester, and he had wrecked his car and he needed to borrow a car. Turned out, by luck, his father was going to be out of town traveling on business. And he said, well, you can use my car for the weekend. That's not a problem. He said, now, it's a Jaguar, so it was kind of a little bit of a risky situation getting a 25-year-old behind the wheel after he just wrecked his car, but that's his dad, not mine. So we ended up going out and picking up his car, and we thought that called for a celebration. So we drove around a bit, and we decided to stop over at a few of the watering holes along the way, and did the responsible thing, had a couple shots, a couple drinks to celebrate the Jaguar that we got to enjoy for the weekend. And so we realized at some point that we'd overindulged a little bit. I don't know if they watered down the drinks or they boosted them up for us, but we were trying to be very responsible about it, and somehow that all failed on us. So we decided the responsible thing to do was to probably stay over at his parents' house because we were still real close by. It was around 11:30 at night, and so we concluded that's why after one more drink we were going to go back to his parents' house, and we were going to go to bed, and we were going to be responsible. So at 1:30 in the morning, we're driving back to their house 2 hours after the fact, and we sneak in, we roll into the driveway, we turn off the lights because we don't want to disturb anybody, of course. And so we sneak in, we get through the garage, and at some point he remembered that he had a dog. So the dog starts barking at the top of it's barking like mad at us, even, and then it finally recognizes who we are. So we make our way through the kitchen, we get through there, and then we realize that they've redecorated recently. So we start stumbling over chairs, we start stumbling over the couch, everything is in a different position than it was relatively recently, like probably the last 12 hours, I guess. So we finally make it up to his bedroom, and we're both stumbling, and I just hit the most comfortable place I can think of, and I just go to sleep. And around 2 o'clock in the morning, I realize I wake up and I have to go to the bathroom. I also realize the dog's looking at me kind of strange because I'm sleeping in his bed. And so I got myself up out of bed, apologized to the dog, went to the restroom, and I came back, decided I would be a gracious guest and I would give the dog bed back to the dog, and I passed out on my friend Tom's bed. So I know it's morning because it's really bright and really it hurts my head a lot. And even that's with my eyes closed. So I start feeling Tom jostling me, and he's saying, Andrew, 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 wake up. And I'm realizing, first I'm thinking, why is Tom waking me up? Because he's got to be as hungover as I am. And second, why does Tom's voice sound female? So I open my eyes, and I realize that it's Tom's mother that's waking me up, and I'm not in Tom's bed. But I figured she seems pretty cool about this whole thing because she's got her bathrobe on, she's clearly had a shower, she's ready for the day, and she tells me I've got to get out of her room because it's time for her to get dressed to go to work. So, and like I said, I kind of felt like she didn't seem too upset about this whole thing. Like, either this happens a lot, or something great happened last night, right? So I figured I'd ask, I had to turn around and ask because it would have been rude not to, right? And I said, did we by any chance? And she looked at me and she said, not on your life, Buster. So I realized that after several weeks later, I realized she never actually probably said anything to my friend Tom nor to her husband because I've been invited back to numerous holidays, and really the only person that looks terribly at me is still the dog. And that's my story, how I got lost in the middle of the night. I affectionately subtitle this, How I Started My Night in a Jaguar and Ended Up with a Cougar.
Andrew, everybody.